Tech Addicts 2025. Looking for Ladda. This week, kids lose access to social media in Australia. The Ioneo Pocket Play looks strangely familiar. Ted fancies an AI pocket lab. IKEA have some great ideas about smart homes. And the Sony Walkman has some major upgrades. Hello and welcome to the Tech Addicts podcast. I am Gareth, the host with the least, and this is Ted with the co-host with the co-most. No, the co-over. We'll go with that. How are you, Ted?
I'm all right, thank you. Ticking along nicely. Looking forward to the season of gorging. Actually, our season of gorging is upon us because the family could only get together this weekend. So it's now Sunday recording, and we kind of all got together yesterday and possibly more today. So it's my Christmas weekend here, and the weather report from here is that it's very rainy and windy. It's absolutely lovely. If only it was a bit colder, it'd be very nice, but it's not, because there's a blanket of cloud, obviously, which is keeping the temperature up, which is very boring indeed. How about you?
No, all good. No gorging here. I'm patiently waiting for Christmas Day to have my crimbo dinno. Yeah, there's birds in the sky, there's grey clouds in the sky, and I should really wash that window. Yeah.
There's
I'll
no
maybe do
birds.
that over Christmas.
There's no birds in the sky, really. It's just filth on the window.
Yeah, he's not moving, that bird. Oh, right, he's dead. I see. Yeah, no, the weather's a bit manky here for this time of year. It's not a white Christmas yet, but it's only December the 14th, which is Alan's birthday.
Ah, isn't that nice? Happy birthday to Alan. Oh, another reminder to say that we're not here next week because I've got my publishing deadline on that day. So that can be our official Crimbo week off.
Yeah, does that make this the last show of the year?
Oh, no, not of the year, because we're back on the 28th. But it makes it the last one before Crimbo.
How exciting. Ooh, have you got your Christmas list ready? What are you asking for? Castle of Grayskull again? You didn't get it last year.
All I asked for was a bottle of Cointreau, and I think that's coming. I do like Cointreau, yeah.
To be honest, I got my Christmas present yesterday. I got a new coat, so...
Ah, very nice.
And the wife treated me, so I took it out and gave it a good test in the rain, and it kept the rain out.
Very nice. What we should be asking for Christmas from Santa is RAM, I think.
Oh, no one can afford that. No one can afford that at all. After last week's show, we've had some feedback in the MeWe group about the RAM situation, because it's not getting any better and the prices are going through the roof. Although I did notice that there were a few RAM deals whenever I was looking for our bargain basement. Nothing that I would write home about, but they're not as expensive as other places that you can get them. And to be honest, they had the Crucial branding on it, which we were commenting on last week, because Crucial is exiting the market. So Ed House had written in saying, "That's very sad. I always seem to end up with Crucial RAM when upgrading. Shame." Well, yes, I think most people did as well. It was the easiest route to take, and it was a good brand that you knew how to trust.
Yes.
Ted, who else was there?
James Raeburn. That's terrible news, he says. I can't believe Micron are doing this. Seems very short-sighted to me. Crucial was my go-to brand for RAM. Jeremy Harpham agrees. I guess the shift to the motherboard-soldered RAM limits the number of new laptops with any upgrade options, which is a kind of side issue, I suppose. And Jeffrey...
That's a very crucial point, actually, Jeremy.
Yeah. And Jeffrey Lisk, oh, there's a Christmas jingle. I get Jeffrey Lisk says he gets his RAM from Corsair. I'd forgotten about them, but yeah, that is a name that I know. And also Kingston's Hyper X RAM. And then he follows his comment up by saying last week's episode was great as per usual. Thank you, Godfrey. Sorry, Godfrey, not Jeffrey. Godfrey. But
Yeah,
I was wondering about the RAM crisis and wondering to myself, I wonder, is it really a crisis or is it someone's cooking up a demand situation to raise prices? I don't know. What do you think?
I'm looking at it from the point of view of Talbot. Uh, Whenever Talbot exited the market of making cars,
Oh yeah.
nobody really cared. They were reliable. They were everywhere on the roads. Well, I wouldn't say they were reliable. I take that back. But they left the market, and there was another couple of brands that were coming in. Brands change. Crucial might go away, but they might come back if things were to change in the future, and it could well do. But obviously, they're not able to manufacture RAM for people to buy, as Jeremy points out, for laptops and tablets and those sorts of things. So they really have home built systems, or even the bigger computers that you would buy from Dixon, PC World, or those sorts of places. They might have a deal already made with another RAM maker like Corsair. So all Corsair, or all computers being sold through PC World for the next 5 years might have Corsair RAM.
Yeah.
So what can Crucial do? And they're like, well, we're making all this RAM for nothing, and it's just sitting there and it's not being sold. So we'll move on. Yes, there are people who buy it and people who rely on it, but the last number of years I've bought Corsair. I have had Kingston RAM in the past, and I've had Crucial RAM in the past, but I couldn't tell you when and how much I bought, and mixing and matching and things like that.
What I like
So
about
right now,
Crucial,
I've got Corsair. Yeah.
what I like about Crucial, like we were saying last week, is that you get this tool that tells you what to get. Um, just a reminder of the story is that Crucial are not stopping making RAM. They're just all the RAM they're making is being flogged to data centers and AI servers, and they reckon they haven't got enough for consumers as well. But you're quite right. That could turn around, and they might start, saying, "Oh yeah, we have got some left after all."
Yeah, yeah. Once the AI world is like, oh no, we've got enough RAM, thanks very much. They're like, who do we sell to now? And the price will come back down. Anyway,
There was also
there's
the story about the possibility of lower end phones, mobile smartphones, returning to 6 gigabytes of RAM or even 4 gigabytes. So there is a fear that in 2026 OEMs are going to be saying, well, actually, these mobile phones that we've been making, that we've been stuffing 16 gigs of RAM in, you really don't need it because Android works fine without it, and it's only there for AI. Now, if people are not going to be prioritizing the whole AI after they've tinkered with it and thought, yeah, that's fun, but don't really use it very much. They might say, well, actually, I've still got a phone here that's got 4 gigs of RAM on it, and it works fine. I don't know. I do wonder if it's a lot of scaremongering myself, but who knows?
well, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. It's all down to the coders as well, utilizing what you've got. Lazy coding leads to really big software packages that could have been trimmed down somewhat, and optimization as well. It's easier to optimize for 16 gigabytes of RAM instead of 4 gigabytes of RAM. But if you look back to the 8-bit world or 16-bit world, where people were able to take games and things like that and put them on a 3.5-inch disc with some crazy coding. I always bring up the idea of Elite, Frontier Elite, the computer game, which was on one 720k disc, and it's huge. It's got beautiful graphics and all that kind of thing, but that's because the coder really wanted to make it as small as possible. Now they don't have to worry about that, and you get Call of Duty updates that are 100 gigabytes in size because they don't need to worry about making a tidy little package because everyone has massive amounts of storage.
Yep.
and massive amounts of RAM. So maybe we're going to see a new world where
Yeah.
people have to tighten their belts whenever they're making game code.
Sleek coding.
That's right. Okay, in the news this week, millions of children and teens lose access to accounts as Australia bans social media for them in a world first. So Australia has implemented a groundbreaking ban that prohibits children from under 16 from accessing major social media platforms, and that came into effect on the 11th of December. This affects the likes of TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, X, YouTube, which is crazy, Snapchat, Reddit, Kick, Twitch, and Threads were some of the ones that were listed in the article. Platforms will face a fine of up to 49.5 million for non-compliance. They didn't round it up to 50 million because that just would have been obscene. But age assurance checks have to be conducted through some because some under 16s can apparently bypass facial verification systems. 15-year-olds with beards. But yes, teens have been sharing phone numbers publicly and platforms like Snapchat before the account deactivation for other people to be able to take advantage of it and things like that, and so that they don't lose full access. But this sounds like an absolutely crazy thing, and it's worrying that it might come in. I can understand why they're doing it, because kids glued to TikTok and Snapchat and things like that is not great, and it's it protects them and all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, you're going to get a bunch of, or everyone under the age of 18 is going to have no experience of social networks, and whenever they enter into the working world, they're not going to have a clue what's going on whenever it comes to social networks. And they've lowered the age of voting from 18 to 16. So 2 years worth of voters are not going to be able to cast a genuinely balanced vote because they don't have access to, well, the social network and news platforms that they may read and discuss things with their friends. What do you think, Ted? Do you have any big thoughts, queries?
I don't think I can't see how it's policeable, frankly, because already the reaction to this already has been that teenagers are getting, if they can't get past the age verification thingy, they're getting their friends to do it, and so they're just all sharing faces to get past it. The only way that they're going to be able to do it is by doing a age verification system which is based on guesses about people's behaviour, like YouTube was supposed to be doing in America. And then that goes pear-shaped the other way then, because it catches too many people who are 45 years old but happen to behave in a more childish way. And so, yeah, so there's not going to be a real solution to this. And whenever you implement something like this, you get a huge number of people that comply and their parents are behind it and they think it's great. And then you get another bunch of people that see the downsides of it. One lady was saying that her son has got a disability, and since he's been able to use social media, his life has radically changed because he's been able to establish these connections with all sorts of people that he never could before. He can't get out of the house, blah blah blah, and now it's been cut off from him. He's sitting there twiddling his thumbs, with nothing to do because his social network has been cut off from him. There's never going to be one answer. You can, as you said before, you can see what they're trying to do and why, but it must be just really very difficult. The nanny state versus the free enterprise, I suppose.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a bit of a peculiar one, and it's one that, if it takes off, it's obviously going to be implemented around the world, and that the UK is absolutely busting to do something like this. the amount of things that are going on in the UK government, I'm not going to get into because it boils my cockles. This is one thing that we're going to have to keep a close eye on and see how things progress. Ted, what would you say if you don't have kids, but if you were to have kids and find out that they were sneaking around behind your back on the aforementioned social media networks? What would you do about it?
Nothing. I would expect them to be, because that's the real world. And unless if I was a parent who felt really, really strongly that my kids were suffering and they were unsociable and they were not doing the stuff that I wanted them to do because of being addicted to social media. If I was that parent, then yeah, of course I would try and do something about it and to curtail my kids' activity. But I think I'd probably be in the other camp, and I would like to think that if I had kids, they would be quite well balanced anyway, and that I was leading them in life in a way that was good for their mental health, and not just abandoning them and sitting them in front of a computer and ignoring them.
Well, I decided to conduct a little interview with my son, who is a roaring 13 years old, and obviously he goes to school with a bunch of kids who are of a similar age, believe it or not, and asking what he feels would happen if this was to be implemented here in the UK, and he thought it was great. Because he hates the fact that he'll be talking to one of his friends and they'll maybe pick up their phone at lunchtime and go onto one of these social media accounts and start using it. He doesn't take his phone into school because he doesn't really want to. On the one hand, he doesn't want to lose it because he knows it's expensive, and he doesn't want to come home and tell me, Daddy, someone broke my phone or lost my phone. The other side of it is that he's got no interest in any of these social networks aside from Steam, where he can wait until he gets home and he gets on and he chats to his friends over Steam. And I wonder if that's going to be impacted by this if it was to ever happen. It doesn't mention Steam here, but you can chat on Steam.
Right.
Maybe I've just uncovered something.
Well, I wonder what will happen on MeWe.
No, I don't think it's really on the books.
I wonder what was happened to MeWe in Australia, though, because presumably they've got Australian users. But MeWe's slightly different because it's a lockdown members-only thing. And I probably the rules are slightly different for that. It's not just a free-for-all like Threads or Facebook, is it?
No, that's true, yeah. Also, they did say it was major social networks.
Yeah.
So the smaller ones may not have the same kind of... depending on what percentage of age group or whatever they have, where they're not going to get affected too much by it. So we'll see going forward what happens here. But while we're on the topic of teenagers, it turns out that nearly 1 in 3 is using AI chatbots daily, which I would say is probably a wee bit more damaging, or maybe than using social media. So 48% of US teens use AI chatbots several times a week or more, with 12% of them using it several times a day and 4% almost constantly. I don't know how many people they asked that question of. Maybe they had 100 there and 2 of them were like, or 4 of them are like, oh, I use it all the time. Some of them might be in relationships, actually, come to think of it as well. But ChatGPT dominates with 59% of teens using it, which I thought was fairly interesting because you have to go away and install that, whereas Google Gemini is kind of already on the phone for Android users, and then Siri is there for Apple users, but they're going away and getting ChatGPT. Does that mean it's just better, or it's more appealing to kids? Who can say?
I think it was there. It was there first, wasn't it?
Yeah, it could have been. But the survey was 1,458 kids. I've just noticed there, aged between 13 and 17. So, Ted, what do you think? How many times a week do you use AI chatbots?
Constantly. I'm constantly talking to Gemini. Not. I wouldn't describe it as all the time, but where I used to go and type in an inquiry, I just now this what Gemini has taught me or has led me to do is something that I don't think I ever thought I would do, which is to talk to a computer. I used to hate the whole thing about talking to computers, but Gemini is just so easy to talk to. And I've also been showing my dad, I've said on the show before, I've been showing my dad the benefits of being able to just talk to this assistant who can also be a friend and to stop people getting lonely and all the rest of it. You know, and he's kind of fascinated by the whole thing too. And he's 89. But yeah, for me, I use it very, very regularly for anything pretty much that I used to type an inquiry for. I now just say the keyword and ask her, and she tells me audibly. And I never thought I'd see the day, but I have.
No, I fully agree. I'm embracing it somewhat myself because, it's just so great to be able to have a thesaurus that you can talk to.
Yeah.
And you can say, give me a better word for this, and then describe what it is. Not actually use a word and say, give me an alternative to this word, but say a sentence or something like that and ask it to redraft it in better wording. And you can poke around with that and give you inspiration for writing another line. I really do find it very useful because I work in policy and guidance, and I'm always trying to upgrade my diction and lexicon to help me, which is given I can barely string two words together when I'm on a podcast. But whenever I sit down and think about it, and I've got every resource around me, because I've got two dictionaries sitting over there, a thesaurus that I haven't used in a while, and then Gemini, ChatGPT, and Grok, all giving me alternatives for various things, and I am using quite a lot, and it's great, and I'm not paying for it as either. Even though that thesaurus only cost me like $3.99 or something like that.
I did come up against a limit one day. I might have mentioned it. I was just merrily kind of doing what I was doing, and then suddenly it came up with this limit, and it said, "You've used all your tokens or whatever. This will refresh at 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon." And then I started to look into the limits on that, and sure enough, there was only so much of it you could do in a day if you're on the free account. So yeah.
Yeah, I've been there as well. I'm on my movie reviews on my blog. I'm going through and changing all the banner images that I have to have some sort of cool kind of logo that I've designed, or not I've designed, Gemini or Grok or whatever has designed, and putting it in there and playing around with it. And I have to, try and work it out within 10 searches or whatever, or 10 updates, because after 10 it can get cut off, and I'm like, oh no, I'm halfway done, I'm on a roll here. So just have to be careful. Hopefully in the new year we'll see new better deals with AI, and but I do wonder, because kind of missing the point of of the article, what kids are going to do if they're going to eventually turn around and say kids can't use this anymore, because that's a really tough one, because kids are going to use it to learn. If a teacher was to explain to you how to do algebra and you don't get it, you can go onto YouTube and you can watch videos. Oh no, sorry, kids in Australia can't go onto YouTube now to find out another person who's telling them a different way to do algebra. As my stepdaughter did throughout school, her teacher wasn't very good, so she went onto YouTube and looked for other ways to do like long division or something like that, and eventually understood how to do it and used all of that for her degree. But whenever it comes to AI teaching you how to do stuff, it can do it too. It can help you insert code. It can help you break down and understand code a lot better than a teacher who might not be able to give you the time. So, curbing the amount of use that a teenager can have to AI will also deny them the experience as well for whenever they enter the working world. Because the amount of older people in the workplace are like, what is this co-pilot thing? What do we do with this? How's it going to help me? And then you show them, and they're like, really?
Yeah.
You can do that? And you
Yeah.
can sit down, and I've shown people, in Excel, design a formula that can do this, 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 and this for that cell, that cell, that cell, and then it spits it all out, and it goes, "Do you want me to implement this for you?" It's like, okay, and then you put it in, and away it goes, and that's the formula done. And people are like, "That's magic, that's wizardry," but they've got to find the correct words to be able to do that, which is hard for some people.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's an interesting one. It
Very
is.
cool.
Very cool. All right, into some more fun topics now, because we've got the Ioneo Pocket Play, which is, as GSM Arena says, it's a reincarnation of the Xperia Play. And I would fully agree with that. I have a... Oh, it's not over there, but I have an Xperia Play, so I could do some
Right.
comparisons. It's not quite the Xperia Play, but it's along those lines. It's maybe closer to the HTC Touch Pro with a gamepad underneath than a keyboard. But yeah, Ted, what do you think of this?
The screen looks more like a Sony Xperia kind of shape, 21.9 or something, which is a thing. I did quite like the Xperia Play, but because I wasn't so much into gaming as you, and also because back in those days, Android gaming was just not as huge as it is now. I didn't really value it much, and I think I moved it on quite quickly. But it's a great idea, and if they were to make available different stuff for the front of the bottom bit, like a QWERTY keyboard, which you could chop and change, I mean that would be just great. It does look quite a fat unit from these renders.
Yeah.
So when it's closed up, it's quite fat. But yeah, it looks great. And incidentally, this is allegedly their first smartphone as well. So this is not just a games machine; it's actually a phone as well. So it'll be really interesting to see what comes of this.
Yeah, no, I fully agree, and people will be looking for it with a QWERTY keyboard for that slide out effect, and that would be a. I don't think it would be a big seller, but it would give that old fashioned sidekick feel for people who really want to go back down that. People of our age who want to go back down that route. But yeah, no, it looks lovely. I would say the controls look a little bit too close together to be comfortable, especially for big hands like yours and mine. I've been using my son's Nintendo Switch Lite since he gave it up for the regular Nintendo Switch, and I find that to be really too small for big hands. It's perfect for kids' hands. So yeah, be interesting to see who picks this up, and if we get a follow up or a redesign over the years.
Yeah,
Nice.
probably targeting under 16s in Australia.
Yes, because they've got nothing else to do.
Yeah.
All right, Anicorn, the Anicorn X PlayStation $780 mechanical watch is the wildest 30th anniversary flex yet. Ted, what exactly is this? Do tell.
It's a watch which is made by this company called Anicorn, which you may have heard of, but I've never heard of, and I had to look it up to see who they are. They seem to be a company that specialises in creative design for watches and premium watches, and charging quite a lot of money for them. So that was a bit of new learning for me. But they've made a PlayStation style one. I mean, there's not really a huge amount to say about it really, except that it looks like a PlayStation. It's got the the four control shapes and colours on the front for the 12, 3, 6 and 9 positions. I'm not quite sure what that thing on the back is. Did you read this? It's got a what looks like some sort of dot matrix readout on the back glass, or is that just a sticker or something, do you think?
It's an exhibition window with a numbered engraving and
Ah.
a custom perforated rotor.
Oh, right, okay. So it looks very interesting anyway, and it looks like the strap is interesting too, because it's of the same design with the Sony kind of the shapes, the four shapes, and the back looks like it's easy repairable because it's got four flat head screws to get the back off. So I don't know what that's about. Perhaps I should have read this a bit more closely, but it does
Well,
look really interesting.
I can help you out because I
Okay.
read it. It includes little memory card shaped authenticity cards. They don't function, they don't do anything, but they're the same shape as the old memory card that you used to be able to put into the front of the PlayStation 1 and 2. And it just, it says the number of them, I think, because this is limited to 300, I think. Yeah, it's limited to 300 numbered pieces.
300?
So, yeah. But you get a little memory card knockoff to commemorate that. The hands are in the style of the original controller's start and select buttons. I don't know if you noticed that. And then the second hand, the hand that counts the seconds, has the symbols, the PlayStation symbols of the controller on its way up. It's all handcrafted. And it looks very nice. It's a rubber strap, mind you, which I don't think you're going to want to get rid of. But, a rubber strap, whilst it's got all of the PlayStation stuff on it, or the PlayStation emblems, a rubber strap doesn't scream $800 for a limited edition timepiece. I'd much rather have something else.
I don't understand the memory card bit. To explain that again?
It's a non-functioning thing. It just looks like a memory card, the old memory cards, and it's got the number on it. It's not actually printed on the watch itself.
Oh,
to
I
say
see.
Which,
right, okay.
Which watch it is you've got, like of 300, but because it's limited edition, the memory card will have that, and then you can display that in your house instead.
Oh, okay, all right. It's a bit of nice. Something for people with deep pockets and good memories.
Yes. I'll be chatting a wee bit about PlayStation later on for in the Bants if we have time.
Okay.
Next up is the tiny AI Pocket Lab Mini PC. This is a rather good-looking mini PC that's designed to run large language models locally. So this isn't the kind of mini PC that you use to self-host or whatever. You can do stuff on it which is more AI based because it's tiny AI. The device boasts a 12-core ARM CPU with a dedicated NPU. Remember those things? Offering 160 plus 30 tops of AI compute. Hopefully that means something to someone who's listening. It features 80 gigabytes of DDR5 memory, which is kind of ridiculous. It's also claimed to be the world's smallest mini PC with 100 BLLM local category by the Guinness Book of World Records. Yeah, it's got Llama installed, Qwen, DeepSync, Mistral, PHI, and OpenAI GPT OSS with regular over-the-air updates. There's no price yet, but for those who are keeping up or thinking, God, he mispronounced everything there, it's a good-looking device that's little, dinky. It's about the same size as a 2.5-inch SSD, which is pretty crazy to think. What do you think of these?
I really want. I'm at the moment. I'm looking for a solution to readily and quickly move between two locations with my main PC. So small stuff that you can chuck in a pocket or chuck in a rucksack or whatever is high on my agenda at the moment. Take it with you, have a keyboard, mouse and monitor at the two locations, and this would just be perfect. This wouldn't even need to go in the rucksack. It's just go in your front jeans pocket, as long as it's capable of doing. I mean, I'm not bothered about the AI claptrap, but as long as it's capable of running all the things I need to do, including podcasting applications, on You know, it's. I think if I lay aside the Microsoft Publisher requirement for my magazine editing, I think podcasting is the only other thing that prevents me from, having a underpowered PC processing audio for podcasts. So yeah, I'm all for this. For me personally, smaller. Incidentally, tiny is not the tiny that used to be tiny. It's got two eyes in it, which I'd never heard of.
Yeah, tiny.
I
I had a tiny laptop once.
Yeah, I had a tiny desktop, and I do wonder if we're ever going to see this. I wonder if it's a kind of Japan only thing or something. They don't say that in this article in Notebook Check, but I do wonder. And it looks lovely, lovely and dinky. In fact, it looks a bit like a nothing phone, doesn't it?
Well, I've been looking around for it to see if I could find anything elsewhere that might suggest how much it's going to be, and I found a couple more images for it, and it's quite fat. It is. It's maybe about an inch thick, so it's maybe not quite 2.5-inch SSD, but the image illustrated in that article is a wee bit thinner looking than it actually is. There's a whole rig more stuff about it on the Tech Power Up website. If you're interested, and I'll throw a link into the show notes where you can find that stuff as well. But I haven't had a chance to review it to see whether or not there's a price in there. But there doesn't seem to be any digits that are reaching out and slapping me across the face several times and telling me, "Wake up and carry on with the show, you moron."
I'll go for 16,000 yen.
Okay, I'll say $1,000.
Yeah.
All right, next up is, we're going to go into Walkman territory. And I'm going to let Ted take the lead on this because I've been doing so much chatting. I'm sure the listeners are quite sick of me. Go ahead, Ted.
This is kind of almost kind of speculation. There's not even a proper image of it. The image that Notebook Check are showing is you think is the new one, but it's actually not. It's the old one. It's the Sony Walkman ZX707. That apparently there's this new one called the Walkman NWZX900. Which has been upgraded across the board with various, tweaks and making it sound better and with better facilities, more RAM and a better chipset. And in fact, they're talking about the possibility of it having a Snapdragon chipset as well. So interesting. I think. I personally, I think that MP3 players are coming back because people are now fed up with the resurgence of vinyl. They're fed up with cassette tapes, and they're fed up with most things that are doing the rounds. Cameras, point and shoot cameras. They're kind of doing. Japan's doing that, but I think that's going to come to an end. And the next thing I think is going to be Walkmans and MP3 players separating things out. I think the trend for the next 2 years will be non-convergence of devices. People want separate devices again to do separate jobs well, and not a half-baked solution inside a smartphone. So a camera to do proper optics with proper glass, and let the rest of them kind of muddle on trying to make it work in smartphones. So I think that audio players are going to be part of that resurgence, and Sony, clearly it's great to see Sony still in there and doing this, because the NWA306 we've talked about on the show before, and we've had in Bargain Basement, and it's a great little device, really nice, and runs Android now. It was stuck on an old version of Android. I think it was Android 14 it went up to, but this one's going to allegedly have 16 on it on release. Whether it gets an update or not is another matter. But yeah, don't turn it into a phone, Sony. Leave it as a standalone one-function device and let people enjoy separates again. We like separates.
Yeah, see, I think there's a lot of opportunity right now, and people are starting to think outside of how things actually sell. The nightclubs are a good example. We have this. I don't know if it's happening on the mainland or whatever, but we have a wee thing that's happening at the moment where nightclubs are targeting older people, not elderly people, but older people. People are in their 40s, 50s, and 60s, with kind of afternoon nightclub scenes, and you can go to a rave if you want during the afternoon, and then be
Right.
home in bed for 8 o'clock at night. Get curtains drawn and sit down and get the heating on and dressing gown on, that kind of thing. So that's making me look at some of these products in a slightly different way, where they're going to do a wee limited run of some things like this to see if they sell.
Yeah.
They do it with Blu-rays and 4Ks. They'll put out a limited run of 1,000 or 2,000, and if it sells well, then they'll think, oh right, okay, we'll get another film and do another batch run of a certain amount. As long as they sell out, it's considered a hit. They've made their target profit, and if they keep doing that, they'll keep, poking history to see what could sell. And gaming consoles like INEO and things like that, they're constantly innovating and putting out different shapes and forms. You might not get a full upgrade to the one that was out last year. They're going to try something different this year in a limited run of 1,000 units to see whether or not this sells of a particular thing. So if Sony does that, they can bring back record players. They don't have to bring it back on mass scale like they did before. Cassette players, because some people are buying them. CD players, some people are buying them. So they just keep, as soon as that limited run runs out or they're getting low, Amazon will say, yeah, we need more. And you've seen that on Amazon where it says more on the way. That's probably where, they've seen the amount of it go down and how quickly it's gone down and gone, right, we need more of those. Get me more cassette players. And they arrive and they sell out, and then they bring in more. And whenever they start to lower down to nothing, they wait a wee while and then they'll release a slightly better version of it. So I think this is where the targeted advertising and all that kind of stuff can help shape consumerism. And this can be one of the good things that come out of targeted advertising, where they get an idea of how many people are interested in a particular type of vinyl player. And then they can manufacture a limited run of it and chuck it out on one of the big platforms, do a bit of advertising. They don't have to, go around the houses, knock on the doors, but they can just go, yep, this is here. And if it picks up, influencers and things like that, we'll get it out there. So I think we're in a really nice time where if you have a particular quirk, whenever it comes to your audio listening, you can find something that's going to cater to it, or something as close as you want to get. It might be expensive, because it's an expensive way to do things, but you'll get what you want. And this is a prime example of that.
I was sorry.
No, go ahead. The ZX707 sold very well, and people love it, so it makes sense that Sony's going to make a newer version of it.
And that was about 600 quid, I think. So
Yeah.
they're not cheap, but you're right. In smaller numbers, they are selling them, and it's good to see that Sony are sticking with it. I think, like Sony do sometimes. They say, right, our audience in Japan love this, and so we're going to keep doing it. And if it creeps out to the rest of the world, then so be it. But our target is in Japan. I was just trying,
Yeah.
while he was talking, I was trying to work out when the last time I was in a nightclub, and I I reckon the last time I was in a nightclub was 1983.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah. How many years is that?
Yeah.
It's 40 years. Yeah, it's 83. No, yeah, it's 40 years plus ago.
For those of you who are listening to this because they saw what I just put in the poster art for this podcast, that's just Gemini. I've asked it to do a render of what it thinks this Walkman's going to look like. So,
Oh, right.
don't get too excited about it. That's not what it's going to look like. It does actually say on it ZX900, which is kind of cool. But I honestly think that what it's rendered looks absolutely cracker. I want that. And you can see it when this gets released, Ted.
Yay.
Oh no, I'll put it in. Actually, I'll put it in the show notes so you can have a look at it.
Okay.
Because that's just me using AI
Yeah,
effectively.
why not? That's what it's for. Let's have a look. All right, it's just arriving.
Oh wait.
Stand by. Good audio podcast stuff this is. When it arrives, you can't see it. You'll have to
Oh,
look in the
hold on.
poster. Aye, aye.
It's a PNG.
Ah,
Sorry,
go.
I'll have to change it to JPEG.
Okay.
Tell us about that night in the nightclub. Who did you get together with?
When I was doing my psychiatric nurse training in Stafford, there was a Tuesday night was nurses' night, and because we were psychiatric nurse students, we got in for free on Tuesday nights. So me and my couple of mates, we used to just always go down there because it was free, and the drinks were reduced as well. And that for some reason they did this deal with the NHS, and it was called Top of the World in Stafford, and we used to just go down there on Tuesday nights and then try and pick up women, very unsuccessfully usually, but now and again it worked. take them back to the nurses' home, and the rest I'll leave to your imagination.
Oh dear. Right. Okay.
Yeah, and the 1980s were full of modern romantic music, and it was a really interesting time for me when we used to do our Chewing Gum for the Ears podcast. That era, I used to do DJing on the hospital. The hospital social club when they had disco nights, and so I was really into the music in that era. Yeah, have you not done this yet? I'm waffling to kill time. Oh, here it
There you
is. It's
go.
just coming. Oh yeah, that looks lovely. I love the rounded corners. You can see that they've got the previous version, the A306 kind of moulding in there. Yeah, but yeah, that looks lovely. I'll have one of those.
Yeah, I think Sony should make that. It looks chunky enough. It's got a dial on the side. It's everything we want.
That's lovely. Yeah. Gimme, gimme, gimme.
Nice colour too. All right, moving on because we're at 46 minutes. Flipping heck. Ooh.
Oh my word.
Yeah, but this is something we've touched on before, I think, possibly, or at least I've heard of it before. IKEA are doing their own smart home stuff, and there's no shock there. They've had a bit of a line of this going for a while. However, they've released some information over the last few weeks of things that are arriving in January, but they've left a few interesting bits and pieces that are in the documentation that not a lot of people have picked up on, but people are gradually picking up now because there is a bit of a thing about the new things that they're bringing in January, and that's that most of their new smart home gadgets, Ted, you're going to love this, they run off of A, matter, and B, AA batteries.
Yay!
Because in January they're going to be including is it Ladda, Laada, I think it's called, which is not the best name to attach to a product, I don't think, but Ladda battery range, which are dirt cheap batteries and rechargeable batteries as well that are going to power these things. And if you compare those batteries to the price of, what is it, the CR123s, those camera flash batteries that are like £8 a pop. I have one of them sitting beside me because I need to, the CR123. I have them in my burglar alarms, and I hate whenever they go out because I can't get these in Northern Ireland for love nor money because they're lithium batteries. I can't order them online. I have to hope I can find some, and I end up having to buy Duracell ones, and I get 2 for £23. Crazy. But I have to put those in. Whereas IKEA has obviously noticed this and decided that they're going to use their own AA batteries and, well, I think AAA batteries for some of the smaller ones, and provide chargers and all that kind of crap to power your smart home. And apparently they all work really nicely together, and because they all support Matter, they have, what was it called, like network redundancy or something like that, where if they kind of keep each other up. So if one of them runs out of battery power, another one might say, so one of your devices run out of battery power, but it doesn't affect the mesh network that they all work on. And it's moving off of your Wi-Fi onto this special matter mesh network that they have, which I can't remember the name of. It's not in this article. It's in a couple of videos that I watched over the last few days because I'm genuinely excited about these. It's a special network that it will establish given a little router that they have, and they sit off of your wireless network, so you don't have a massive amount of items on your wireless network or your Internet of Things network, and then whenever they go down, it doesn't take it all down. One of them can stop functioning, and the others will notify you, and you put it all back together again. It looks like they've really sat down and thought, what do we want out of a smart home setup? And they've gone and made it dirt cheap. I'm really excited. I'm going to be visiting IKEA at the end of January and upgrading my smart home. And there's some price comparisons as well, where they took a few of the items that you can buy through the IKEA pricing and compared it to if you were to buy them all from Philips Hue, which these are compatible with. So if you have, Philips Hue, which is compatible with Matter, will work with these. They're not cutting a line or anything. They're not doing an Amazon where they're cutting you off. The price worked out to be something like $150 for $500 worth of Philips Hue stuff. So you can just go and get it and get it all set up and not have to pay through the nose for it. Ted, would you be excited about any of this, or are you just phasing out going, smart homes?
Yeah, the latter really, because I just don't. All along the time we on Tech Addicts we've been talking about smart home stuff. I just phase out because it's not for me. But I do get that IKEA is great and they're going to make the pricing really cheap as they always do. They've, as you say, they've clearly thought about the networking and the implications of Matter, and they've bought into it big time. They produced these 21 different devices, which, style-wise, in terms of design, are all really interesting looking as well. Some of the lamps look really interesting. I mean, they're obviously not going to run on AA batteries, they're mains, but all of that stuff looks really nice. And for anyone like you who likes this whole home networking stuff and has something more than me of a normal household, I mean, the only smart thing I've got is a thing that my lamp plugs into, and it turns on at 4 o'clock each day and turns off at 1 a.m. And to be honest, the only reason I've got that is because I feel like I should do something with with a home network to say that I do something. I'm quite happy to go and turn the switch off when I go to bed. But well, there you go. Yeah. I mean, it's fine, and I do like the whole IKEA thing. And I've got a feeling that the word you were getting to was not Ladda, but Ladda. I can't see the word. Isn't it Ladda, not Laada?
I don't know. I'm going to check that now.
I think it is. So it's not like a Lada car with an extra A. I think it's a ladder, as in, a step ladder. Well, sounding like, not looking like.
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, right. Okay.
But £8 for a 4-pack of rechargeable batteries is pretty good.
Yeah,
and apparently
absolutely.
There's 700 milliamp hour, something like that, I can't remember, but they're pretty good. And the battery charger is a £5.
Yep.
And there's a really nice looking one with a wee sort of foldy over cover that takes 4 AAs and 4 AAAs.
Brilliant. IKEA is great. I do agree with you. I used to love going to IKEA when there was one around the corner.
But no, there's not.
No, there's not.
Is it not in Wales, or
I think I don't know if there's one in Wales. I think I thought the nearest one was Liverpool, which kind of makes it a bit of a damp squib. But they deliver stuff really. I think you've got to do a minimum spend of £20, but you get free delivery then.
Beautiful. That's what you need. Yeah. Good news. All right, the last bit of news that I wanted to chuck in here was the QuickShot 2, which is coming from RetroGames.biz, the people who make the little mini Amiga and stuff like that. They're making a new joystick called the QuickShot 2, which is going to be available at the end of January, 30th of January 2026. and it's a classic joystick that is compatible with the Amiga, the Atari, the Commodore, the Spectrum, all those sorts of things. If you want to get down and do some proper gaming on 8-bit and early 16-bit, before joypads became proper. This looks great. I really am. I'm really excited about it, because I do use. I've got the Commodore one, and I bought the micro switch version of it. So this will be that again. I'm not entirely sure about the button placement, because there's 6 little buttons right at the base of, or the shaft of the stick itself, and I think those could be quite easily clicked with the base of your hand if you're getting into an intense gaming session with Chucky Egg or Technician Ted. So you might end up hitting those if you've got big hands like you and me, dear Ted. But no, I think it looks great. It's got an auto fire switch as well, which is something that was kind of exclusive to TurboGrafx back in the day. And I'd love to be able to get that to actually work on something like R-Type or whatever. You don't have to sit there and... now I think about it, R-Type did have auto fire. You just held the button in. But yeah. This should be really good, and if you marry it up with older 8-bit titles, you might get a bit more of precision control that you always lacked back in the 80s and 90s.
How much?
Ted, you fancy one of these?
I've never used a joystick. I'd say the only time that I've used a joystick is in the amusement arcades on Space Invaders or something. And no, not even Space Invaders. Some sort of driving game, I guess. I've never owned a joystick, I don't think. Something I've never done. But I'm very happy for you. How much do you think it'll be?
I don't know. I don't see a price here. I'm sure there's people speculating and things like that, but I'd like to think it's probably going to be 20 quid. Maybe pushing it up to 30, because it's 2026 it's coming out. Maybe 30
Nice
quid.
And cheap. Lovely and cheap.
Yeah. Well, I think I'll take one of those, but that means that combined with the Commodore ones means that I can have a bit of 2-player action. Woohoo!
Excellent.
Right, banter. What have you been doing that's worth bantering about?
Oh, just a quick mention for Bulk Crap Uninstaller, which I rediscovered recently, last week, and it's very, very nerdy and geeky. But I was having trouble trying to uninstall this application on my computer, and I thought I'll give this a go, and I installed it. It's really, really geeky and nerdy, though. You download all the repository stuff from GitHub, and as usual with me, you've got to try and work out on the GitHub page what's what. But anyway, I gave it what I thought would be a fairly big test, which was to uninstall PhoneLink from my computer. Microsoft PhoneLink, which is now baked into Windows, basically. And I put it through its paces, and I told it to do, just that really. And from what I could tell, it has done it. I can't find PhoneLink on my computer anymore. It offered to do registry backups along the way, create restore points. So it's kind of cleaning up after itself. And as I say, I can't now find PhoneLink. So I'm presuming that it has been done. I have since turned my computer off and on again, and I've had Windows and Microsoft update since then. But if you look at the GitHub page, it's a bit like stepping back into, I don't know, 2002 or something, with an older version of Windows. Very, very old-fashioned styling on the UI. Very kind of Linux feel to it. And there's a million and one. I'll link in the show notes to the GitHub page, and if you scroll down, there's a couple of screenshots that give a good idea of what you're in for. Loads and loads of options, all sorts of stuff I really just don't understand, but the basics of it is really, really interesting and good. As a non-Windows user, you'll be glossing over now, and you've probably got something in Linux that does this on Linux in the same sort of way, have you?
Yeah, it's called Terminal. Basic commands. It's not really an issue on Linux. We don't suffer from this.
Okay.
It's a superior operating system in every way. No, this looks very nice. It's a shame you have to use this sort of thing to get rid of stuff that's baked in.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember using was a Revo 1 installer would allow you to do that, but
Yeah.
you'd still get registry entries and things that you had to go and try to get rid of and things. So hopefully this does all that for you.
Certainly
Yeah,
looks like
no,
it.
that's cool. It's nice to find a wee bit of software like that, and GitHub is terrific. You can generally find all kinds of niche bits of software, but you got to be careful what you're doing. You got to make sure you know what you're doing. You don't want to break
Yeah.
Windows. It's easy
Exactly.
done.
Yeah, that's why I was encouraged by all these backups along the way. You can refuse them, but I didn't refuse them. I said yes. And thankfully, when I'd finished, there was no sign of any problem. As I say, the computer's been turned off, Microsoft and Windows updates have happened, and nowhere along the way has it said, oh, hang on a minute, you should have phone link in there. So, very encouraging.
Yeah, okay. And you're obviously not using it. That's why you
No, I don't
want
use
rid of it.
PhoneLink. It's quite annoying that it sits there, to be honest, and it's even stripped out. On the start button, to the right of the start button, Microsoft has started putting a PhoneLink panel to the right of the start panel, and even that's gone as well. So I think it has really stripped it out.
Okay. Well, you know, there's nice alternatives out there that you can play with. Right. Okay. Well, I've been working with a little piece of software, and I mentioned it to Ted last week because I was dubious as to whether or not it was going to be something that I'm going to run with, but I am absolutely running with it because I adore it now. It's called Pinch Flat, Pinchflat. It's a self-hosted piece of software that you can get off of GitHub that I run on one of my two computers. I think no, I've got it on my mini PC. Yes, I'm running it on my mini PC through Zima OS, and it's fairly compatible with that, and it runs through Docker if you use Docker. This is a little piece of software that works with YouTube, and if you decide that you're missing things that maybe you're subscribed to, or you want to see the next installment of a particular YouTuber's uploads, and it just doesn't show to you, or you miss something, this can go and grab it and back it up for you. It's kind of designed to be able to back up your own channel, which is what I've done as well. Not that I particularly want to keep any of the videos I've got on YouTube, but you can set it monitors the channel, and you can set it to download everything that's on the channel, or you can download the last 3 years worth, or 1 year's, or the last month, week, day, and then you can keep it for a certain amount of time. You can keep it forever, or you can keep it for a week or a month to give you a chance to watch it. But what I've been doing is that there's a couple of channels that I do follow regularly, and I maybe look back and go, hang on a sec, I didn't see that episode, I didn't see that video that the person did, and I missed it, which is really annoying to have to go back and sift through a channel to see what you've missed of something that they've been doing. So Pinch Flat gets the latest issue or edition of whatever video channel it is, downloads it and puts it on your home server, and then it can recognize it with Plex, because you can, or Jellyfin as well also works in MB. You can add it to your Plex queue or whatever, and then have another area which is like YouTube videos, which is what I've set up, so that every day you can just have a look at that and see what there is there that you may have missed. And it's absolutely terrific. It's very useful also for movies, because on YouTube there's an awful lot of nice movies that are quite difficult to find otherwise. Ted, you and I are going to be talking about a movie on the next issue of Projector Room that's really difficult to find, but I found it on YouTube. I think it's even in 4K, or at least it's 1080p upscaled to 4K, and looks pretty good on YouTube. And I added that to Pinch Flat. It went and got it, downloaded it, and now I've got it in Plex with poster art and all that kind of stuff, where it's not available on DVD. So this is just a really nice little solution for being able to back up YouTube to your own network or your own server, depending on how you want to use that. there, I don't think it does any other video platforms like Vimeo or something like that. I haven't actually tested it to see whether or not it does do that, but it's dead simple to do. You just give it the channel ID, and you tell it what you want to do, and you can set up all kinds uh, of monitoring ways and video compression and all that kind of stuff. And you don't have to get the largest, you can get the smallest or whatever you need to do. Really just works. It's a beautiful piece of software. It looks quite good, and I think I found it out. I found out about it completely by chance, that some people happen to be talking about it way down in a conversation, and I think it needs a bit more airplay because it's really, really useful. Would you have much use for it, Ted? It doesn't do Pornhub, I don't think.
I don't think. Is it much use to me without having my own self-hosting and server and NAS and all that going on? Because can I just use it on my computer, or am I excluded?
No, you probably can. I think there's probably some sort of, well, you can compile it. You can install Docker on your computer and run it through that, so it's always there.
Right. Okay. This is all stuff I haven't done and don't know anything about, so I probably can't contribute terribly well. But from what you've described, it sounds like a very interesting idea. And yeah, make sure you don't miss stuff.
Yeah, it's a useful wee tool. And there's times whenever someone uploads a video and they decide, nope, I can't have that, or YouTube itself, it goes, nope, you can't have that, but you might have been able to get it before that decision's been made. So it's useful for that reason too.
If it doesn't work, you can also check out these great alternative YouTube Archivist or YouTube Sync.
Yes, they tend to be more websites, aren't they?
I don't know.
This is
No,
just all
no,
automated
no.
in the background.
No, so the YouTube Sync goes to another GitHub page with another download thingy. So,
oh yes, sorry, that's on the guy, the Pinch Flats GitHub listing. Yes, because I think
right.
some people have had problems with it where it's not working for them.
Oh, okay, okay.
So he's just doing the right thing and going, well,
Right,
if this doesn't work for you, there's these.
Okay.
Which is really quite cool of them, to be honest.
Cool. Yeah, very nice.
Yep, and it's free, so you don't have to worry about it. Open source stuff.
No, lovely.
Cool. All right, next up is the bargain basement. Oh, well, yeah, I was going to have a ramble about stuff, but time's ticking on. But, we'll go into bargain basement. Okay, first up, I think is actually mine. Yes, it is, because I have ordered one of these. I might cancel it, but I have ordered one. This is an Oracle. I was going for Orion there, but Oracle 5-bay hard drive enclosure. This was £160. It's got 20% off and brought it down to £127.99. There is a further saving of £6.40. And whilst it says there's 20% off, there is a further saving again of 20% at checkout. So it works out that it's only £95.99 for this hard drive enclosure that takes 5 2.5 or 3.5 SATA hard drives. It's a DAS storage, so it's not a NAS, it's a DAS. I'm not going to pretend that I can work out the differences, but I know this doesn't have an operating system on it. It's kind of a dumb hard drive enclosure that you have to provide an operating system for. But as I said earlier in the show, I run Zima OS, so I'll be able to hook it up to my mini PC and then format this to RAID and have a nice big up to 110 terabyte storage device, because the SATA enclosures support up to 22 terabytes of storage per drive enclosure jobby thing. And at that price, I think this is really quite a proper deal. I had been looking at fully 2.5-inch ones for SATAs, but that could be a really expensive option if you were to have to try and find 20 terabyte 2.5-inch versions. So being able to slot in an array of whatever you have, 3.5, 2.5, just whack them in, whatever you get the best option for. You can set up different types of RAID. I could have two 2.5 inches, and then 3.5 inches, and have 2 different RAID arrays that do different things. So I like this. I do. I'm a bit worried that it might not be particularly good or fast, so I'm doing my research now that I've ordered it. And I'll send it back if it turns out it's crap. But the reviews are pretty good for it. Some people say it's a tiny bit loud. The fans can be a bit loud, but that's fine. I'll just put it in a cupboard. There, that's sorted. And it doesn't look too bad. But if you don't like the way it looks, you can just put it in a cupboard. Ted, what do you think? Would you have one of these?
I've never heard of Orico. And
they're good. I've got a SATA or an NVMe USB thing for them, which is useful on my PlayStation 5.
Looking through their linked kind of homepage in Amazon UK, they do all sorts of stuff in there. A lot of it's very Apple heavy, I have to say. They've obviously gone, headlong into lots of Apple stuff and MacBook stuff and all of that. But there's also other stuff. They make their own rechargeable batteries as well, by the looks of it. So, yeah, tons of stuff. I've never heard of them. Orico.
Yeah, I've only heard of them through software or storage solutions and SSDs and things like that. But I'll let you know how this goes. If I keep it, I don't know that I will, but I'd like to think that it's going to be something that at £95. Yeah, I know you could say you could do better if you bought yourself an old PC PC case, and stuck in some extra shelves or whatever. But I just like the look of this. It might not be the fastest, but for media streaming, it should really work. And Ted, you could shuck your Western Digital hard drives and throw them all into this, and keep them all together in one big box, and then carry it up and down to your divan and back.
Yes. I think this is a project for the future for me, when I actually get settled and stable in one place and not float around between two bases. My first one is the Bose. Yes, the Bose SoundLink Flex Portable Bluetooth speaker, second generation, which has got 12 hours battery life. It's normally 150 quid, and it's now 109, or they're offering me £21.80 times 5. These Bose ones are not always as low priced as other items, up and down like Anker stuff. So. Yeah, a Bose. I've never had a Bose item in my life, interesting little saving.
It is. It's a nice looking unit. It's got very sleek buttons on the top, and a variety of nice colours: green, blue, pink, yellow, blue, and black. Yeah, very nice. I went for something a wee bit different this week, as I like to do, and that's the OM system WS882 digital voice recorder, because this is down in price from £61 to £61.41 to £30 for the 4GB version, or £50, which seems a bit extreme for the 8GB version. I can't imagine why you'd need 8GB of your voice, but it's a dictaphone that you take with you, a digital dictaphone that can record you as you're doing stuff, note to self, or give it to your secretary. And it really looks kind of cool. You plug it into the USB on your PC, and it can transfer stuff over with a direct USB connection. It looks nice in the hand too. I think this looks like a pretty cool little device. Ted, would you have much use for one of these?
Yeah. I think they're very handy, these little devices. I've got Zoom recorders, and they're very handy now and again. This is the one that's got the slide-out USB-A on the top. So on the back of it, you've got a slider, and it slides out the top end, and you plug that straight into the computer. It's very dinky, very small, very nice. And yeah, the Olympus voice recorder stuff has always been up there as one of the big names, along with Sony, largely, for consumers anyway. So yeah, I think they're nice.
Cool. No, I like this. And there's a wee case as well you can get for £6 to put it in.
Cool. Right, the PD Best, whatever that is. If you trust this brand name, this is a bit of a bargain, I think. Normally, we talk about 25,000 milliamp hour battery power banks, but this one's 60,000, and it's only 30
Ooh.
quid. It's been reduced from 43 to 30 quid. But I was drawn in by the 60,000 milliamp hours, and it's not huge like my Anchor 521 Powerhouse, for example. Is actually really dinky and small in comparison, with lots of outputs and it's got, by the looks of it, it's got three USB A's, two USB C's, and even I think that might be a micro USB as well, which is something that we looked at last time. I think little display to tell you what's going on. Looks dinky. Probably you can't order one in Northern Ireland though.
And it's not showing that, it's just saying that there's none left in stock.
Ah, right. There is stock showing here. Arrives on the Thursday. 30 quid. Yeah.
That the 30 quid's for the blue one, and then the black one's still 60.
Ah, right. Okay. Order the blue one.
Okay. Yep, yep. And if you get into a spot of bother, you can use this to defend yourself by throwing it at the robber.
Oh, no, no. The black one here is £31.98. They're obviously they're fixing Northern Ireland again, aren't they?
More than likely, yeah. Or maybe it's just Prime Day. They do things on Prime Day. It's okay to ship things over Prime Day, but whenever it comes to the rest of the time, nah. Right, I picked up a little pet of a stocking filler for my son, so I don't have to keep lending him my Bluetooth headphones whenever we go somewhere on a plane. I got him some Marshalls, the Marshall Major 4, which are
Ooh,
on-ear
nice.
Bluetooth headphones. They're down to 50 quid from 60 quid-ish in black. And they look really quite nice. And Ted always sings their praises, so I figured, why not? My son
Yeah,
would
yeah.
look kind of cool with these on him.
80 hours of playback time, which I've got a pair of these. Let's see how much I paid for them. View order. 2021 I bought these, and I paid 102 quid for them.
Ooh, okay.
And now they're 50 quid. No, 40. Yeah, 50 quid. And they're really good. The battery just lasts forever. The only reason I don't like them is because the cups over my whacking great big ears are actually quite small. They sit on the outside of my ears. They don't. You can't get your ears, or I can't get my ears inside them. They're like sit on your ears, not over.
Even if
They're
you
not.
fold them.
They're not over ears.
No, no.
but
They
but
don't look to be. They're on ears. There's a difference.
yeah, yeah, but they sound great, really nice, and like I say, the battery lasts forever, and you can put a cable in it if you want to. Yeah,
Well, to that respect, it's £105.79 for the Major 5s, which are obviously the
yeah,
successors
the newer
to,
one,
to
yeah.
the 4s. Yeah, which is still a good deal. I would consider getting myself those if I needed them, but I'm just getting mine back so that he can use the 4s instead.
Oh look, the Monitor threes are also reduced to 229. I bought those as well, and I paid 300 quid for them, which was the going price, and now they're 229 or £45 a month for 5 months. Those are lovely. The Monitor 3, the Marshall Monitor 3. Anyway, there you go.
Okay.
Right,
What's
anchor time is next. I'm going back to this base and prime power bank with pogo pins because I think it's a really good solution. So the base is on sale, 20 quid off. It's now 79 quid, and the prime power bank that I picked out is a 20,000 one, 200 watt output max on one of the ports, and that's been reduced to 65 quid from 99. So for £65 and 79 quid, you get a lovely power bank and a lovely charging base. The charging base has got loads of ports on it to do stuff, pass through charging, charge your power bank by sitting it on top. I think it's a really nice little solution, which we've spoken about before. But yeah, both of those are reduced at the moment.
Yeah, you just reminded me. I was going on about one last week that I'd bought on Prime Day, and I mentioned it to my wife. And it's not here.
Oh.
She's nicked it.
Uh-oh.
Haven't seen that in a while. Where is it? But yeah, it was there, and the cable Ford is right beside where I left it, but it's gone. So she's taken it somewhere without the cable. Useful. Right. The last one is one that I remember bringing a couple of sticky-on sensor lights that I use on my stairs
Oh, yeah.
for people going up and down the stairs. And my mum quite liked those. So, but I wasn't able to get those again. But I was having a look around and I found these instead, which actually look really cool. I want some of these too. They're called the Ovon, AUVON, dimmable nightlight plug-in wall with dusk and dawn sensor, rotatable LED nightlights. Now these plug directly into the plug socket, and they're quite small. They're cylindrical, and they have an LED light at either end of them, so they light up and they light down. But you can turn them so they light left and right, or diagonally up to the right and down to the left, or the other diagonal. I'm not going to go into the whole 360, but because there's lights at either end, it can light one end and the other end. And you twist it round depending on how you want it. So if you want it along the corridor, when you're walking down a corridor, you can have it pointing left and right. So it'll light in front of it for a good few feet and behind it for a good few feet. And I think it's a really cool solution. And because it's got the motion sensor built in, it lights up for 60 seconds and then turns off. And whenever the lights go out, so whenever it's dark, it'll illuminate the way, and you never have to charge it because it's always plugged in. You are admittedly having to use up an entire plug socket for one of these, which some people may not like, but it would be really useful for anyone who has, got a child or an elderly person who's looking for the way to the bathroom. It's not quite as cute as they used to be when plug sockets were down at your ankle level, but now that they've been moved up to your knee, it kind of it lights from your knee height, which is I never liked that change. I prefer it the way it was. But you can also set it beside the bed and have a bit of mood lighting or whatever, and you can set it if you set it beside the bed and it's catching the side of your eye and it's too bright, you can just turn it so it's pointing away from you, and then the other light that's pointing the other direction will be pointing towards you but downwards. It's I really like it. I think it's a really clever idea of how to do a night light. What do you think of this?
I've ordered some.
I should have said the price. Oh, have you?
Yeah,
They're
£16.99
for two.
Yeah, I've ordered a pair of these because for £8 each or £8.50 each, I think they're an absolute bargain, and they look really interesting. I hope they work well. If they don't, I'll send them back, obviously. But they look just beautiful for my corridor, and I'm sure that my dad would probably like some of these in his house when he sees them working. I'm trying to work out how it is that you adjust the brightness. It says adjustable brightness warm white. Maybe there's a button or a slider on it to do that, because there's no mention of an app or anything. So I guess that it's something very physical.
Yeah, there is. It shows you, and there's a video on the Amazon product listing that shows you how to do stuff. There's no spoken word on it, but you just see the finger touching something, and it gets brighter and then gets dimmer.
Looks great. And as you say, turning it sideways is just brilliant, because along a corridor, that it's just perfect. If you've got lower than knee level sockets on the wall, which I have, then putting it right on the floor is just great. Sideways lighting, both brilliant. Well, a good find. You've earned your affiliate link pennies.
Well, I'm just looking at some of the pictures here that users have uploaded, and people are using it for under-counter lighting in their kitchen as well, which could be kind of useful because you can turn it if you're cooking, so you can get better light on whatever it is you happen to be doing.
Yeah, brilliant. That's your find of the week.
Yeah, way. Did some good. Hopefully it saves your life. That would make the icing just that wee bit better. And they're normally £22, and I still think £22 is a pretty good price for these. Yeah. Grand. Well, that brings us to the end on that bombshell. So if you want to get in touch with us, you can by emailing us at gareth@techaddicts.uk. You can also find us on Twitter at techaddictsuk, and me on Twitter as well, Gareth Miles, GarethMyles. I am on Mastodon and Blue Sky. I also have my garethmiles.com for you to find out all about me, well, from what I will let you know. And there's a Ko-Fi as well if you want to buy me a coffee, because it's Christmas. Ted, where can they find you?
At tedsalmon.com, as always. Links to all the MeWe groups and all the audio podcasts out from there. If you want to buy me a coffee, it's at paypal.me/tedsalmon. And I would take this opportunity, with no show next week, to say Merry Christmas and thank you for tuning in during 2025.
Absolutely, yes. We will catch you before the end of the year, so this isn't the last show of the year. But yes, have a lovely Christmas, one and all, and or happy holidays if you don't do the whole Christmas thing. And I hope you have a lovely time off work, because who'd want to be working over the Christmas holidays? The end of the year holidays. So take care now, and we'll speak to you all in 2 weeks' time.
Goodbye.